Goodbye, soggy San Francisco. Hello, desert golf. For my first round in Palm Springs, I decided to head to Indian Canyons North. It was one of the first private clubs in Palm Springs back in the Sinatra days, and today it plays as a public track. We teed it up from the white tees at 6,500 yards. And relative to San Francisco, where the ball wasn't carrying or rolling out, even on the first hole here, my drive that only carries 220 and change rolls out to 240, and I will have a short iron in on the first hole. This one's tracking and winds up on the front of the green. And my first putt of the day almost drops. And I'm happy to tap in for par. This is a decent drive on 2. And maybe I'm still in those San Francisco numbers in my mind, because this one that's right on line pitches past the pin and goes just off the back. And for the second time in 2 holes, I'll lip out for birdie and take another par. I play most of my golf on the Pacific Coast, and after this trip I had a newfound appreciation for desert golf. In Palm Springs, the San Jacinto Mountains make a beautiful backdrop for golf, and I played some great courses in Nevada and Arizona as well, and those are coming up soon. That was a good up and down on 3. And on 4 I hit my 190 club into a 180-yard par 3, and I still haven't learned that the ball's finally going the proper distance. This is my first mistake on the greens today. I gave this putt a bit too much respect. Not once, but twice. And finally, over the par putt, I decide I'm just going to ram it home. This is the longest par 4 on the course, and the trajectory on the shot tracer might look good, but I actually skied this a bit, and I'm left with an awkward number in. 210 is a hard hybrid or a soft 4-wood for me, and trying to hit the hard hybrid, I hooked it. Getting it on the green from that lie was actually pretty decent. And no trouble getting out of this one with a bogey. This is the line I'm trying to take on the par 5, but it has to carry quite a bit to clear this bunker. And up against the bunker lip I hit maybe my best shot of the day with this 4-wood. And will leave myself now just a wedge in. This one pitched right by the pin, but unfortunately it rolls out a bit to the left. I'll have about 15 feet for birdie here. And for the third time in 6 holes, I've burned edges.
Oh, go hard.
This is pretty bad contact on 7. And it just catches the end of the greenside bunker here. And that's a good one and will give me a look at getting out of here with a par. But I miss it just a hair low and settle for another bogey. I get away with this push up the right on 8. It's in a bad lie, but at least I have a window to the green. And on the approach I get away with one too. I'm lucky that this one's greenside. And once again I'll have about 10 feet to get up and down. And this time I find the back of the hole. This is another one that I'll get away with on 9. And letting up on an 8-iron here, I probably just should have hit all of it. And I leave it about 6 or 7 paces short of the green. But this will go on the card as another up and down. And despite only hitting 2 greens on the front, a few of them were near misses, and most of those times we managed to get up and down. So I'm very happy with 3 over going into the back, which has an extra par 5, which is usually good for me in the scoring department. But not when you snap hook them off the tee like that. And I catch this one actually a bit chunky, and it only goes about 180 or 190 yards. And I don't love the way I've hit this one either. But my very first video ever talked about hitting bad shots on par 5s and getting out with the par. And that's exactly what I proceed to do here on 10. On 11 we're back to the push trend, and this time I'm not quite going to get away with it. I'm in a lousy spot here trying to punch under a tree, and yeah, I don't have that shot. And as always, when we hit a bad shot like that, the plan is now get it on the green, give myself a look at par, and in the worst case get out with bogey. And on any day that I'm turning mistakes into just bogeys, I won't complain. Another push here on 12. And this is a pretty difficult shot for me on an upslope, and it needs to carry a greenside bunker here. And I managed to do it. But I throw it away a bit by giving myself a bit too long of a look back for par here. And this one doesn't drop. That's a good drive here on 13. But that is another snap hook. We've hit a few of those today. And all of a sudden this is turning into a blow-up hole. That was a very difficult shot that I managed to somehow trundle on. Might not have been exactly how I planned it. And the theme continues where we're happy to get out with bogeys.
Wow, was that bad?
That's a big pull left of the green here on 14. And that's a mistake. This one's much better. And can we get out of this one with a bogey? Yes. I missed this one a bit, but it does wind up in the fairway.
Oh, looks good.
And this one's on line, but a good 20 paces past the hole. And it's a good lag putt.
Oh, nice try.
And hopefully the bogey train is over. When you hit shots that bad, you gotta hold the finish. Plus the club twirl. And from 50 yards here, I hit another good one. And that's a wild up and down, maybe a 1 in 21. This is the intended line on 17, and I'm hoping that I'll be inside 50 for the approach, but I have about 80. And it's pin high, but a bit left. And that's another good lag putt, and another par. Some of you have been asking, so I figure it's a good time to share. After this round, I spent about another week in Palm Springs, and then I headed to Arizona, where I linked up with Golf Sidekick. We played about half a dozen rounds together, and those videos are coming up split on our channels over the course of February and into March. Here on 18, everything was good until a lousy approach with the wedge. But it's another up and down, and it allows us to break 80 on a day that we did make a lot of mistakes. If you take a look at the card here, you'll see that I averaged 1 bad stroke per hole. But on the flip side, we were under 30 putts and got up and down 6 times. So in our last round, we hardly scrambled and we were 36 putts. Today we scrambled well with only 1 3-putt and managed to shoot a decent 79. It's a good welcome to Palm Springs, and I look forward to sharing more of this trip with you shortly.